This episode of the Managing Madrid podcast is brought to you by DoubleTree by Hilton Hotel Chicago Magnificent Mile. Tucked between Magnificent Mile shopping and Navy Pier attractions, their location makes exploring Chicago easy. A 10-minute walk from 360 Chicago, Millennium Park, and the Chicago Riverwalk for dining and riverboat cruising. Relax with a cocktail in the lobby or enjoy a drink after a rooftop swim in the summer. To keep your workout routine on the road, book a fitness room with in-room equipment or visit the fitness center. Madridistas, if you're traveling to Chicago for Real Madrid's preseason U.S. tour, look no further than DoubleTree by Hilton Hotel, Chicago Magnificent Mile. Coming up is a little bonus segment for you guys. It is taken from one of the members-only calls, which happened on Friday, and the entire call, which is available over on patreon.com/managingmadrid, or you can hit join on the YouTube memberships tab on the YouTube channel. We talked about the Barcelona circus a lot, everything that's going on there, because on Friday, that was the news. That was the day where the news broke that Laporta was like, "You're leaving, Xavi?" No, actually, you're fired. So we talked about that circus. We talked about whether or not Hansi Flick is actually an upgrade and what Barcelona will look like under him. More Om Arvind tributes. We had a good time. I mean, it's never a fun thing to talk about someone's passing, but we spoke about really fond memories we had of Om, and it was much needed. So we also talk about Om quite a bit as well. And we also talked about replacing Kroos. What does that post-Kroos era look like? Full episode is in the show notes. Enjoy today's bonus clip, and let's get to it.
This quick game, maybe.
Oh yeah, the game. Sorry, the game. Shoot.
Most painful departures in over the last 5-6 years, and to me, the other day I realized that the Kroos departure is to me more painful than Ronaldo's, Ramos's, even Benzema and Marcelo, and I figured this out because I think the fact that he's retired as a Real Madrid player is a huge factor to me. It's just the tiebreaker here for other players like who left under decline and didn't join another elite club like Marcelo or Benzema. The decisive factor to me is the fact that he's retired as a Real Madrid player. So guys, Real Madrid legends, please retire as Real Madrid players whenever your time comes. And to me, the ranking, again, modern era. So I'm not putting Zidane here or Raúl maybe or Guti or Casillas maybe. My ranking, I put 5 names only. Is Kroos in his own tier, Marcelo and Karim Benzema sharing the same tier, and then Ramos and Ronaldo below them in terms of painful departures. I don't know how you guys feel.
After the Champions League, Ronaldo leaving hurt because felt like he was it just, we had just won the three-peat, so it wasn't out of the question we could win 4 in a row.
Oh yeah, but I'm not talking. I mean, it hurt, but I'm talking more about sad rather than, resentment, right? Because Ronaldo, you felt back in the day that he was leaving for more money, and he joined Juventus when he still had maybe 2 or 3 years left in his prime. So to me, that's why, Marcelo and Benzema probably are in a different tier than Ronaldo in terms of painful departures, even though obviously Ronaldo is the best player of this whole game we're playing. But yeah. And the same can be said about Ramos, by the way. Ramos just didn't reach an agreement with Florentino and decided to join PSG kind of, quote unquote, for money, if you will. That's why he doesn't belong in the same conversation as Benzema, Marcelo, and obviously Kroos, in my opinion.
I would argue Kroos' level was the highest relative to his own career as well at time of leaving. Marcelo was phased out. Benzema had actually a great season, but nothing compared to the season before that.
Right.
And then Cristiano also, we watched him his whole career. That was one of his worst seasons, the last season. And then Ramos, the injury, I wasn't even the memories of peak Ramos were like a year old at that point. And so Kroos, though, the last memory is literally
exactly, yeah,
surviving against Etihad, cooking against Bayern. Man, I'm missing that.
Go ahead, Kiyan, you're thinking hard. Those 5 players, how do you rank them?
Previously, for me, it was Ramos, number 1.
But it wasn't combined with kind of resentment, as I was talking about. It was just sadness, as this Kroos situation. With Ramos, I felt some kind of resentment, really. I feel like his legacy was tarnished because of that decision. It wasn't just, it was pain, obviously, same as with Ronaldo, but it wasn't sadness mostly. It was more like, man, you really couldn't figure this out with Florentino. Did you really need to join PSG for 2 years? Is this really how you wanted to end your legendary career in Madrid? So that's how I felt mostly with Ramos anyway. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So allow me to bear with me as I kind of talk through this. Okay. So with Raul, I didn't care that much because he just wasn't Raul for like 10 years. And so I was like, okay, well, it's time. With Casillas, the same thing. He had declined for like a solid few years. He wasn't the same. And by the time he left, I was like, okay, that sucked the way he left. But I wasn't like crying at that point. With Cristiano, I had a really, really, really bad level of delusion of like, oh, he left. That sucks. Greatest player in club's history. Now, here's what we're gonna do. Asensio is gonna take a huge leap. Bale's gonna score bunch of goals. Benzema's going to take a leap. That never happened apart from Benzema taking a leap. So that in hindsight was hurtful, but at the time I was delusional. That's why it wasn't that hurtful. With Ramos, it hurt because like I just, even though like I saw that in that past last year at Real Madrid, he had lost a little bit of a step. He was still great. And by the time they released the tribute video, and the music in the tribute video, when he's scoring against Bayern with the headers, and then he has La Decima, I'm just sobbing at that point. That one hurt a lot. And I remember thinking, like, you know who I'm really going to miss? And I don't want this day to ever come is Marcelo. But by the time Marcelo left, he had declined so much that I was like, okay, well, it's time. Kroos by far leaves on the highest note of any of these players.
Yep.
Not only because of his reputation, but also because his footballing ability. Zidane I was sad about, but I knew that at that point it wasn't Zidane anymore. But funny enough, then he went to the World Cup and was unbelievable. And I was like, holy shit, maybe I am devastated now. Like I didn't know he was still this good. And then Kroos is very unique in that sense. By the way, the parallels between Kroos and Zidane are pretty interesting. He's playing his last game soon, and then he has an international tournament, and then he's leaving. I thought, and they both wanted to leave on top, and they never really cared, about anything else apart from, playing the sport they love and winning. And they, with Zidane's case, I mean, he left money on the table as a coach and a player. The one I think is going to really hit me hard too is Modric.
Yeah. If he retires as a Real Madrid player and doesn't go to Arabia, he will definitely belong in the same tier as Kroos to me.
Yeah.
If he goes to Arabia, again, the tiebreaker for me is Kroos retiring as a Real Madrid player. That makes a whole world of difference to me. The fact that the last club shirt he's putting on is a Real Madrid shirt is just legendary status to me in the current era of football we're living in right now. So, yeah.
I wouldn't knock Modric as much because he's 39. If he was like 34 or Benz's age, then went to Saudi. But if he's like 40, like I kind of want, like, I don't know. I just I want him to get more rich, I'm not going to I
don't know, man. To me, it makes a big difference. I realize they're trying to make more money and to make their children richer and all that. But to me, it makes a difference. And the fact that Kroos took this decision puts him in this legendary status to me. And by the way, another painful, assuming he retires as a Real Madrid player, will be Carvajal to me. Canterano, Madridista, started the works in Valdebebas, this incredible picture with Di Stefano. been here through the years. Obviously, his career hasn't been as great as Kroos, but the fact that he's a canterano and has played for Real Madrid since he was 8 or 9 years old is it's a big factor for me as well. Again, assuming he doesn't go to the United States, to the MLS, or to Saudi Arabia, or to Japan, or whatever like that. This is something decisive and crucial to me. The fact that they are retiring as Real Madrid players in order to match or to play even with Kroos in these rankings.
If you guys are professional athletes, do you think you'd be more of like the Michael Jordan, Tony Kroos, in that like you want to go out on top, or would you go like more LeBron James, Luka Modric, or you would just go out until you possibly couldn't anymore?
Depends a lot on the status and on the career earnings I had, right, in the past. Like if I was, for example, a Carvajal or a Nacho, I would probably try to keep my career going a little bit and make a few extra millions in the MLS, Saudi Arabia, or whatever. Cristiano, does he really need this contract in Saudi Arabia? I mean, I'm serious now. That it's just I don't like it, man. And the same goes for Messi, obviously. Messi is still kind of building his legacy because of the PR machine behind him and all that. But does he really need to play 2 or 3 years in the MLS? It's just
I don't know. Like, to be honest, me personally, and everyone's going to be different. Money aside, Saudi Arabia, I would have no interest in that lifestyle, but I would have a lot of fun in Miami. Like I get the MLS, going to Miami, LAFC for a couple years, making money, good weather, a lot to do.
Winning another Ballon d'Or just because he scored a few penalties in the World Cup.
Yeah, well, that's reserved for Messi specifically. He can win a Ballon d'Or just farting on his couch.
I just think you worked your whole career and you built a brand, and like at the end of it all, you can't use it to continue expanding your career like the traditional way, but somebody offers you like 100 million a year to go do it for like to kind of just rest on your old brand and do whatever you want. You can like tear your ACL, they pay you. You can come hang out at Valdebebas to recover from an injury and get your coach fired like Benzema, they pay you. Like they're setting a bad precedent there. And it's just like, I don't know. It's like, it's just like a bonus that you get. I don't even see it as like something you got to do. Like they're just offering you money. It doesn't matter if you become washed. And so just the bag chaser in me cannot disrespect them at all. Like the bag chaser in me is just like, it's free money. It's a bloody sovereign government that's going to use it for some other bullshit anyways. Like it's either your wallet or somebody else's. Why not? That's the way I see it, but I understand the other view. It's just, I can't believe Kroos is saying no to God knows. He probably said no to like 250 million. I respect that. Just also as like just a bag respecter. Like he has a clean head. He probably has his finances planned out. He's not greedy, doesn't need any money. So yeah, like that's true too. It's just the world builder in me is like, why wouldn't you get money and go start a country or something, you know?
Well, what I love about it is that he backed up his own words. You know, remember when he was criticizing Gabi Vega for going to Saudi? Yeah. And, he was talking about on his podcast the other day, they're like, look, man, every 3 days you're on the road, you're going through hotels. It's not really like a fun, glamorous lifestyle as you think it is. It's tiring.
Yeah.
But then now you get to drop on your Friday night chill when you're done with your week training for the Saudi team. Like the restaurants you get to go eat at, you can go spend $1 million like on your restaurant on Friday night.
Yeah, that probably gets boring after like a couple weeks.
No, it does. Then you just get injured and then you get to like go on vacation during the season.
I think he's going to have a lot of fun on this podcast. Hopefully we'll get some good quotes from him. Hopefully we'll get him on the podcast. That's the only silver lining. Maybe you can get him on the podcast finally, now that we don't have the Real Madrid PR team that we have to ask. So maybe that's silver lining.